In this lesson, we're going to cover standard instrument departures, the three kinds, and how to read the charts. Standard instrument departure is designed to alleviate controllers' workload and control aircraft on an IFR flight plan that meets the requirements of the SID. Here you can see the Pencil 2 departure out of Atlanta. We'll cover this in detail in just a moment. There are three types of SIDs, as we covered earlier. Pilot nav, which does not require any controller input, is up to the pilot to ensure compliance. Radar vectors, which requires controllers to give magnetic headings and often altitudes. And hybrid, which requires some mix of both pilot nav and radar vectoring. Here's the Pencil 2 departure out of Atlanta. On departure, the controller is going to give you an initial waypoint. This could be Pickett, Ronnie, Impasse, or Sea Park, depending on what runway you're departing from and which direction you're departing from. There are no radar vectors required for this departure, as you will have a waypoint initially off your runway. The top altitude of this SID is 10,000 feet. This means you cannot climb more than 10,000 feet without authorization from air traffic control. Do not climb above 10,000 feet on this standard instrument departure. This is also for turbojet aircraft only, as you can see under the notes section. You also must accelerate to 250 knots, or if you're unable, to advise both tower and departure control on initial contact. This is a pilot nav SID, because the air traffic controller does not have to give you any radar vectors or altitude changes. It is up to you as the pilot to make sure you're in compliance with this standard instrument departure. Here's the Bristol 1 departure out of Jacksonville. The controller will give you an initial heading on departure, depending on what runway you're taking off from and which direction. Radar vectors are required for you to get to the first waypoint. So after your initial heading, you should anticipate that he'll have some other type of radar vector, or he may clear you direct to the first waypoint. In this case, it's TRE. Notice also at TRE it says 3,000 feet or above. But also the top altitude for this particular departure is 3,000 feet. This means you can anticipate that you're going to be at least 3,000 feet at TRE, and in most circumstances will be cleared to climb higher. Note this is also for aircraft only. This is a hybrid nav SID, as your initial departure will be off radar vectors, but then you have multiple waypoints including TRE, Bristol, Baxley, and Alma. This is the Nashville 7 departure out of Nashville. The controller will give you an initial heading on departure, and then radar vectors will be required for the remainder of your departure. The top altitude of this departure is 4,000 feet, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner. There are no restrictions on the aircraft type. This means if you're flying a 737 or a Cessna 172, both are able to utilize this departure. This is a radar vector nav SID. You can anticipate that you're going to get a VOR put into your flight plan if there's not one already in it, whether it be the Nashville VOR, Pocket City, Walnut Ridge, Volunteer. One of these VORs will be inserted into your route as your initial waypoint. The standard instrument departure is used often in IFR flights, especially in airliners. You need to know the different types and how to comply with each of them. Before you fly anywhere and you receive your route through SimBrief, check your standard instrument departure and make sure, 1, that your aircraft can comply with the restrictions, and 2, you understand how to fly it.